Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to discuss something completely different from academics. By now, we have all heard of the ghastly and horrific incident which took place at a medical college and hospital in Kolkata. In the aftermath of this horrific incident, many women have come out on social media expressing their pain and anguish and the constant fear that they have to live with, especially when surrounded by men in public places. Now, as a counter, as a reaction to this kind of statements, many men have also come out in social media saying that not all men are like this. Now, if we take the literal meaning of the words, then yes, certainly not all men are like that. But if we just take a step back and try to understand the sense and appreciate the sense in which these women have expressed their pain and anguish in their lived experience, their actual lived experience, then we'll perhaps appreciate that there are certain undeniable truths which apply to all men and boys. So in this video, I wish to speak and discuss about some of these facts, some of these points, especially targeted at boys. Now you may ask, what expertise do I have as a simple professor of an engineering institute? Those of you who don't know me, I am a faculty member in the mechanical engineering department of IIT Kharagpur. So what expertise does that give me to speak about such things? Well, to be honest, it does not give me any expertise. But I am a part of this society, and my feeling is that although I am a professor of just an engineering institute, but this engineering institute is first of all an educational institute, and as someone who is entrusted with the responsibility of teaching young minds, my responsibility, it goes a little bit beyond just giving engineering instruction, because what we teach and what we learn, help our students to learn now, is what is going to shape our country, our society tomorrow. So it is with this belief that I wish to discuss certain points. It is also with the belief that it will help me to reflect myself on certain points. I have a 5-year-old son. One day he's going to be a teenager, become a man. Perhaps what I discuss today is going to help him in that distant future also. So let us start our discussion. So the basic premise, the basic motivation of having this discussion is that although violence, abuse, assault, these are unspeakable things which necessarily endanger the lived experience of women and girls. But beyond these also, there are certain small things, quite a few small things, which actually makes them feel unsafe in various kinds of public places. And these public places are apparently some kind of safe spaces, like workspaces, like the works and the offices, the classrooms, the labs. So why is that? This is my question. Why do they have to feel like this? Is it not the onus on us, the men and boys, to truly make these spaces feel safe for the women? Because we have to understand that although taken individually, these things are small in themselves, apparently small in themselves, but taken together, as they stack up one after another, it's a big pile, and that cumulative effect can actually make them feel really, really unsafe, the women and the girls really unsafe. So I wish to have a discussion on some of these apparently small things. So first of all, regarding the words. So the words we choose to speak, the tone that we take up, and certainly the content which we choose to discuss, that can sometimes have a very bad effect, because it is common knowledge that within the context of many engineering and medical colleges, as many boys spend a lot of time in their hostels, they use a lot of coarse language filled with sexual expletives and whatnot, many unspeakable things. Now, as they get into the habit of speaking these kinds of things day after day, it sometimes spills over during their interactions in a more formal space like a classroom. And they forget that this is a shared space, and they continue to speak like this, using expletives, very coarse language. Now, some of them may say that they really don't mean anything harmful by this, it's just their way of speaking, but it is actually disrespectful. Furthermore, some of them may say that, okay, I don't actually speak like this, I only speak like that in the hostels. But you have to remember something, that first of all, I just want to make something clear. People may not realize this, young students may not realize this, that no matter where they speak like this, it does not make them appear cool in any way. If they continue to do this, it is their own wish, but it does not certainly make them look cool. The other thing is that maybe they are not doing this in the classroom. They are only confining this kind of speaking, this kind of conversation only in their hostels, among close friends. But the truth of the matter is that it is still disrespectful to the women and girls. So if you are being disrespectful behind their backs, you are actually being disrespectful. That is the truth. And if you are being disrespectful, that kind of disrespect, whether you want it or not, it will spill over in your actual interactions, even if you pretend to be otherwise. So please keep that in mind. Another thing is that some of you do not engage in these kinds of conversations, you do not use this language, but you're often a silent bystander to it. I was myself like this. While I did not use such kind of language, while many of my friends used to speak like this, I was a silent bystander. Some of them used to speak in this kind of fashion in front of girls, which was extremely disrespectful, and I barely said anything. Maybe once or twice I said something, but I never actually put my foot down, so to speak. So don't be a silent bystander, okay? Say something, take a little bit of a responsibility in making the space safe for everyone. Next, continuing with words, something less apparently harmful is jokes and banter. Now, I understand that jokes and banter are very much a part and parcel of everyday interaction, and it is actually necessary. There is bound to be a certain level of playfulness, a little bit of teasing here and there, harmless teasing in the interactions among the boys and among the girls, and with each other also. I don't see any harm in that, in this kind of playful banter. But students have to realize that there is a fine line between playful banter and actually making someone uncomfortable. And maturity, true maturity, lies in actually recognizing this line, this boundary. Now, there is another point that sometimes some students, some boys especially, they are accustomed to having this kind of a playful banter among their close friends, but they do not recognize the fact that maybe with someone else this playful banter is no longer playful. Maybe it is actually making them uncomfortable. And it is not just with girls, it could be with other boys also. So everyone is not the same. So there is a cultural context also. In a large engineering college or medical college, people come from different kinds of backgrounds, from different kinds of family backgrounds, from different kinds of cultural backgrounds. So when you say something or do something, you have to appreciate the diversity of those backgrounds and actually modulate how you speak and converse and interact with others on a day-to-day basis. Next, note that sometimes it doesn't even take words. Just ask your mother, sister, or any close friend who is a girl, and they'll tell you that it is quite common for women and girls to be subjected to what is called the male gaze. There's a world of difference between looking at someone and gazing at someone in a way which objectifies them. And this latter thing, this objectifying them, staring at them in a lewd fashion, this is so very common and widespread that almost all women and girls have come to accept it, that this is something that they have to live with. This has become so very normalized. And unfortunately, like the real unfortunate part is that many of these women and girls have had to experience this even from their pre-teen years, from such a young age. And from the perspective of us men and boys, you see, almost all of us have been guilty of this. I'm sure all of us, whether inadvertently or otherwise, we have all been guilty of this, the wandering male gaze. Now, some people may say that this is something which men and boys are hardwired to do. This is just base animal instinct. But come on, we are living in the third decade of the 21st century. We claim to be living in a civilized society. If we cannot overcome this kind of an animal instinct, what good are we? Is our claim of being in a civilized society really true then? So even if our instinct is propelling us to do something like that, can we not curtail it, or at least have the self-awareness to not do that in a deliberate fashion? So I think there is something to ponder and put our efforts into. Next, something very serious is that in a shared space, for example, especially in a lab where people have to work together, especially in engineering institutes where still the gender ratio is extremely skewed, where girls are very few in number still, unfortunately. The lab groups are such that in a group there are few girls and quite a large number of boys. And what happens is that it's always a little bit crowded, and the boys crowd together and the girls, they just get pushed out. Sometimes it so happens that perhaps inadvertently there is some kind of an inappropriate touch. Now, if it is inadvertent, accidental, it is understandable, and I'm sure boys who have been brought up in a proper fashion, given good lessons, they will be genuinely sorry. But this should not be such that it leads to some kind of an opportunity of behaving in a wrong fashion. So this is my earnest request to everyone, that please behave in a gentlemanly fashion whenever you are in a shared space where there is actual physical interaction going on. So these are some of the major points that I wanted to discuss. I'm sure some boys would feel a little bit called out on hearing these discussions, and they may perhaps counter argue that it is not just the boys who behave in this kind of fashion, or who speak in this kind of fashion, use some kind of expletive laden language. It is the girls also who use this kind of language. True, it is there, but you try to absolutely be impartial in your assessment, whether there is a large skewness in this statistics or not, whether it is a large number of boys who are doing it or a large number of girls who are doing it. So I'm sure you will get the answer through some kind of self-reflection. And let us not forget that sometimes some girls do this just so that they'll be able to fit into a large group which is predominantly composed of boys, and sometimes boys who are not naturally like that, they will also perhaps engage in this kind of a thing. So my hope is that through the discussion that I have had in this video, it will lead to some kind of better discussion, a little bit more self-awareness among everyone, both boys and girls, especially boys, and this self-awareness will lead to an improvement in how they conduct themselves, how they comport themselves. So tomorrow, when they become the men of the society will be a little bit better than what it is today. So this is my hope and dream for a future India. So thank you everyone, and all the very best.